Hey everyone, how are you today? Welcome back to our channel. Okay, what we're going to be talking about today is what is going on with BRICS. And if you are not familiar with what BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, and China. All right, so we're going to be talking about that today. And Saudi Arabia, as you know, or you may not know this, they are the largest U.S. export market in the Middle East, all right? And they invited the Chinese president to visit there in March, as relations with the U.S. have faltered, okay, since Biden was elected. And according to a report, the U.S. intelligence agencies have assessed that Saudi Arabia is now actively manufacturing its own ballistic missiles with the help of China. And this is a relationship that could lead to a domino effect across Middle East countries. I also say domino effect, or I also say trickle effect. Okay, a lot of you are, you're used to me saying trickle effect. Okay, now under Biden, the U.S. leader who we all know, okay, he's not right. Okay, he has dementia. He's openly mocked about it, on the international stage. U.S. allies are now aligning with China. Yeah. And Saudi Arabia, they have now announced back in March that it was considering accepting the Chinese yuan, and that's YUAN, instead of the US dollar for all future transactions. So this is the move that Steve Bannon, I don't know if you're familiar with who he is, Steve Bannon and the War Room, they've been warning all of us, because I follow them as well. They've been warning all of us about this over the past, I want to say, year now. And they said, it's going to end the US dollar supremacy, and it's going to facilitate by Biden, the Democrats, and the Uniparty members. So, and Biden and his handlers, okay, they are destroying the United States. We're seeing it. It's like an everyday occurrence. There's something new that pops up all the time, and we're going, what else could they possibly pile on top of this mountain that they have created of the pile of shite? And in July, Saudi Arabia, they were actually invited to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO, and BRICS. All right. And over the weekend, the South African leader confirmed the likelihood that Saudi Arabia would be joining BRICS alliance. Yeah. Now, the South African president, his name is Cyril, and Cyril, Ramaphosa, and that's Ramaphosa. He held a 2-day summit with Saudi Arabia on mostly like economic matters, okay? And at the conclusion of the summit, he confirmed what the intent of Saudi Arabia to join the BRICS Economic Coalition, okay? And it turned out that it should not come as a surprise, given that the previous statements made by the Saudi leader and the crown prince, who is Mohammed bin Salman, they said that Ramaphosa confirmed that Saudi Arabia wants to join the BRICS family. This was revealed by the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, during his 2-day visit to the kingdom on Sunday. And the crown prince, or prime minister, Mohammed bin Salman, he did express that Saudi Arabia's desire to be part of BRICS, and they are not the only country that wants to also become a part of BRICS, right? Now, BRICS held its first summit in 2009 with SA joining the following year. And the bloc, and that's BLOC, okay, was generally being seen as an alternative, if you will, to the dominance of the Western economies. And they said that we did say that BRICS having a summit next year under the chairship of South Africa and in SA, and the matter is going to be under consideration. They also said that a number of countries are making approaches to BRICS members. And they said we have given them the same answer, that it will be discussed by the BRICS partners and thereafter a decision will be made. Now, since the onset of the Western Alliance sanctions that were brought against Russia, they have been predicting an increased geopolitical influence from the BRICS team, and a global financial and economic cleaving is underway, which was created by the Western nations chasing ideological climate change, energy policy, while the rest of the world remains pragmatic toward oil, toward coal, and also toward natural gas as energy resources. So, this is all being closely monitored, and the signs of global cleaving around the energy sector taking place. Essentially, Western governments following the Build Back Better, climate change agenda, which stops using coal, stops using oil, stops using gas to power their economic engine, while the rest of the growing economic world continues using the more efficient and the more traditional forms of energy to power their economies. So, Biden and his handlers are seriously, purposefully destroying the U.S. All right. And I really hope that people are honestly waking up to all of this, because this is not a laughing matter, and, this is something that's going to affect every single one of us, right on? And one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on this subject was because a community member had actually gotten a hold of me, and he wrote me an email, like expressing his, not feelings, but expressing like the way that, he sees all of this. And I'm going to read you his email. And I speak to this guy all the time. He's so sweet and so intelligent. And he said, "Oh my goodness, with all the other distractions going on, I didn't realize the situation with BRICS was this serious. I don't think anybody, unless you seriously follow it, seriously and follow every step of the way, I don't really think that anybody understands and really knows what's really going on a day-to-day basis." You know what I'm saying? And he goes on to say, not only is Saudi Arabia getting serious about joining BRICS, but also Algeria, Indonesia, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, Sudan, Syria, Turkey, and Venezuela have expressed serious interest in joining BRICS. Argentina and Iran have already officially applied for BRICS membership. In addition, Bangladesh, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, and Uruguay are members of BRICS, New Development Bank. Now, he said BRICS is a SINO, and that's SINO, Russian-led coalition. What Saudi Arabia's actions are telling me is that they realize the Fed note is worthless and aren't willing to accept it any longer. Well, yeah, a lot of countries are no longer accepting the US dollar anymore. And that's been happening, but it's been so hush hush for such a long time. It really has. Um, let's see. Oh, where did I leave off? Darn it. It, oh, and aren't willing to accept it any longer. And I've said this for a number of years now, that the trigger for systematic collapse of America would happen when the world no longer accepts the petrodollar and the Fed note loses its status as the world's premier reserve currency. You are dead on balls accurate. Yeah, you are so right. And we're seeing it happen now. Not only that, but now Saudi Arabia will dictate to the West, and especially the US, how much oil it's willing to pump to them. Saudi Arabia will have no problems selling its oil to other countries that now don't have to buy in US dollar. This is the end of the West as we know it. At some point, energy costs are going to skyrocket. And if Potato keeps on as he's doing, that at some point, the strategic reserves will run dry. Right again. And then what will the U.S. do if this war goes hot? This is just gross incompetence on the part of the government. Psychotic, almost suicidal. They need to again start drilling for oil as quickly as possible. Otherwise, what the heck? Does the government have a fleet of heavily armed flying saucers to reserve powered by 0 point energy? No, of course not. Did America learn nothing from the Second World War? That's the thing. They never learn from their mistakes, ever. The government doesn't care, you know? Even though Germany was feverishly producing synth fuel at the end of the war, it wasn't enough to save them. Once they ran out of fuel, they were dead in the water. One of the main reasons they lost the war. There were obviously others, but they ran out of fuel. Even though America has a number of nuclear-powered vessels, all the military vehicles, including trucks, tanks, airplanes, landing craft, etc., still need fuel to run and oil for lubrication. America has only enough domestic natural gas reserved for the last 12 years or so. Canada, 14. We won't even talk about Mexico. The point that in about a decade or so, it's going to become even more interesting. Something has to drastically change, or we're going to be in deep, deep shite. Green energy doesn't work. Electric vehicles don't work. Not with the existing infrastructure and the failing electrical grid. All of our energy should be going into developing a working model of a fusion generator. We're close. That's where the future is. Otherwise, they're going to deliberately collapse everything. And when the majority are in desperate enough straits, they'll come along with their Cheshire smile and say, "Let us give you shelter from the storm. Come join us, and you'll never be hungry again or want for naught." Many will take them up on their offer. And that's the sad thing. That's the sad thing. You know, you're going to have people that have literally lived in the dark, you know, heads in the sand all the darn time. And they're going to say, "Oh, finally, the government is here to save us." No, run the other way, man. Run the other way, you know. But there's so many people that seriously, they just don't say it. And I'll never understand. I will never understand how they just don't say it. And then you have people like you and I who will literally talking to her blue in the darn face about no, don't listen to that. And they're just la la land. They just don't say it. They just don't hear it, or they don't want to say it and they don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Because our government would never do that to us. Oh my. You know, it's one of those. So he said, parents will do anything for their children, especially if the whole family is truly starving. Oh, yeah. Oh, exactly. I so totally hear you on that, you know, because I know that if I was not living the lifestyle that I am, you know, and preparing the way that I am, if it were to come down to it, and my grandchildren were hungry, you damn straight I would go to any extreme, any lengths to make sure that they were not hungry. But that's just me. But that's any parent, that's any grandparent, that's any aunt, that's any uncle, any family. Anybody would do that. Anybody. I don't care who you are, So once enough people capitulate, at that point, they'll come for all the prepper supplies and redistribute them to the people in need themselves. And make no mistake about it, there are some sick psycho puppies. Oh, God, you have no clue. None. They, more than the rest of the people, need some serious help in the form of psychological reordering, probably kinder to lock them in a padded cell for the rest of their lives, drugged to the hilt, nothing less than what they deserve. Yeah, ciao, Mama Mia. Yeah, ciao, thank you. I love you. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. There are some serious sickos out there, that will literally do what they will, just to get what they need, but, when you have someone like me who's a grandmom, or you have someone like, Jessica, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law, she's a mom of a 7 and 8-year-old, we'll do whatever we can within reason that is rational. You know what I mean? We think with an intelligent mind, not with a nasty whatever. But that's just us, But, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one, all right? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.